Uh, all right. As usual, I'll be recording this particular session. So that those who are not able to make it to the live session can, take benefit of this particular session. And Nikhil has joined here, and we'll start off this. And let's see how many participants can join later on. Let's not delay, as we have already told it's 6:30. Anyways, a very good evening to one and all present here and those who will be joining later. Welcome to the second episode of GURI's Topper's Perspective. Like many of you know, this is an initiative to bring a clarity in the minds of aspirants regarding the UPSC Civil Services examination, which comes with its own tag, the burden of baggage, that is one of the world's toughest exams. But however, we see hundreds of candidates clearing this particular exam every year, not just once, but actually sometimes multiple times in a row, right? So in that case, we will come across this particular question, that is this particular exam really that tough to crack, right? Or the ones who have already cleared this particular exam holds any magic wand or some sort of superpowers or so, right? So often what happens is this particular the unseen or something which is hidden thing out of anything is the one which creates fear. That means to say we are not able to see as tangible product, or we will have to imagine something, right? So this actually creates the fear factor inside our mind. And that's why we invite those who have already seen the unseen or that hidden side and break down that particular code for you, so that this will ensure, kind of a push factor to gain the strength and confidence, get rid of that particular fear factor in your mind, especially at the very first stage, which is nothing less than a gamble, right? That's the preliminary phase. We have it this year, 2023. On May 28th, which around 90 days from now. And we believe in letting the words come out from the horse's mouth itself. So today we bring you, in this particular second episode of GURI's Topper's Perspective, a consistent performer with a never give up attitude and determination, who has consecutively cracked this particular code and has reached to the top. Shri Nikhil B Patil, who has secured rank 139 in 2021 UPSC Civil Services examination, and who has earned what very less candidates, actually can achieve. That's Indian Police Service. I remember back when we both were preparing for the 2020 personality test together. We used to have these Zoom calls because it was COVID time, and we used to have this lockdown and restrictions as such. And we used to discuss some important topics. And we had this common desire to actually clear this particular exam way back in 2020 itself. And Nikhil obviously deserved the top ranking that very year, but probably destiny asked him to wait a little bit longer, to wait a bit longer for the results to come out. Nevertheless, I'm really happy that he did achieve what he intended to do. And with respect to this particular session, we all know that this exercise, but I'll just try to remind that this session will be of two things. One, we will ask the invitee today, we have Nikhil, to speak and give his thoughts on the exam and his approach towards the preparation. And once that's done, we will have a question answer session as well. Let's keep it very short and brief because we all are in a zone of preparation. So let's keep that very short and brief. Just a request, just try to restrict the questions with respect to the prelims zone alone. We have a long way to go for the mains as well as the personality test and things like that. So please try to avoid some personal queries, personal clarifications. Other than that, if it's pertaining to prelims and rest of it, it's well and good, right? So let's just start it off. First and foremost, I would like to thank Nikhil for giving us the time. I feel very proud to welcome Nikhil a fellow Kannadiga and a fellow literature achiever and a very good friend of mine to this session. Nikhil, all over to you. Please go ahead. Nikhil, I think it's in unmute. So, sorry, you can unmute and speak.
Okay. Am I audible, Vishak, now?
Yeah, you are audible. Right.
Okay. Firstly, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences with all those aspirants. Once upon a time, I was one such aspirant who was seeking guidance, if possible, from any direction. And good evening for everyone who has joined here with me in this session. I'm just adjusting the camera. So, initially, let me start with my journey of UPSC and when did I decide and how did it manifest all these years and how I achieved this rank. Many people think that those who crack UPSC will have an idea or thought in their childhood itself that I want to be an IAS and they will start preparing during that phase itself. For example, since PUC or since their degree. But for me, I decided to start preparation only in my final semester of my engineering. That is in 2017 of May. That too, last 1 month was left, and I was placed in a company. That's when I decided that I would not go and join a software company and work in an IT job. Rather, I would try, at least try, and see how and what this exam is all about. So it is not that I was initially like motivated from my childhood that this is what I want to become since my childhood. It was not the case. But yes, there were some factors which had influenced me this decision, but it was not that I intended it since my childhood. So in my last semester, I decided to pursue this exam. And as you know, or some of you might know, in first two attempts, I couldn't clear my prelims. That is 2017 I started and 2018 prelims I gave and 2019 prelims I gave. In both these attempts, I couldn't clear prelims itself, and it was very difficult phase for me because in after my engineering in 2017, I had went to Delhi to take coaching, and even after coaching and reading for 1 year in Delhi itself, in two attempts I couldn't clear my prelims. And when I was giving my third prelims in 2020, almost 3 years had passed, and I had not taken even a single step or a single progress in this examination. But however, I knew somewhere in back of my mind because I was putting my honest efforts, though in the initial years it was not in the right direction because everyone seek guidance in this examination. At that time, I did not have proper guidance, what to do, how things must be done. Because of that, I did, in a way, waste 1 year when I was in Delhi. And in my second attempt, I was putting honest efforts on my part, and somewhere I knew that it is achievable. So in my third attempt, I did clear prelims, I did clear mains, and I went to interview. That is 2020 prelims. And I went till interview till my third attempt. But as Vaishak mentioned, I fell short by almost 15 marks in my for me to be in the final list, and I almost some 20 days was there for prelims of next attempt. So in the remaining time, I wanted somehow to clear this exam badly, and in the remaining time, I prepared how much were possible for me. And in my fourth attempt, that is 2021 prelims, I cleared prelims, mains, and interview. And this attempt, that is fourth attempt, I have secured All India rank 139. This is my brief journey about UPSC examination, and I have been allocated to Indian Police Service, and uh, I actually, if I may tell it here, I have attended the foundation course, but I am writing again for me and try for Indian Administrative Service. This is my brief UPSC journey. And if I may tell little background about me, the family background, because many people think that We see many people from IITs, NITs clear this examination. You should be from top college, Delhi University, etc. But it was not the case with me. My hometown is in Gokak district, Gokak Taluk of Belgaum district. My father works in a cooperative sugar factory, and I did my schooling till 7th standard there only, in a small school in Gokak. Then I went to Satyasai Institution, that is residential school in Mangalore. I studied there till 12th standard. After that, there was two options. I either had to go to engineering or medicine, and I chose engineering, and I finished my engineering, mechanical engineering, from 2013 to 2017, and that's when I decided to write for UPSC examination. So this is my brief family background, and with respect to my education and my UPSC journey. And you could see that it was not that I was in some institution like IITs, NITs, where it's a perception that people from these institutions clear this examination. I studied in a normal school, then I did my schooling, and I did my engineering. And what I think after retrospectively, if I think what is essential to clear this examination is, it is not the past that we have, what are the past achievements we have made, but only the thing that we do now. Once we decide that we will prepare for this examination, and whatever you do now, only that matters and nothing else. So this is what I have realized in all 4 years of my preparation. And uh, this is my brief introduction. And Vaishak was telling about to focus on prelims preparation. As you know, it is almost 93 days remaining for prelims 2023. And I will be highlighting some points about prelims and in general how your attitude or mental preparation should be there for this examination. And at the same time, I would welcome everyone to ask as many questions as possible, because I may tell you the general strategy here, but this session is not for that. If you search my name and you'll search in YouTube, you'll get a brief overall strategy of almost 2 hours that I have told about how preparation should be done with respect to prelims preparation, with respect to answer writing, notes making, newspaper reading, everything. And I prefer you can see that once. And here we'll specifically answer some of your specific questions. Many have doubts what to do, how to do, no matter how small they are. Because in this preparation, no question or no doubt is small. Many times, what happens at that small thing, we get stuck and we'll not be able to make progress, or we'll be putting efforts continuously, but it will not be in right direction. So I advise you all to ask me questions, no matter how small, and I would be happy to answer them. So, if possible, you start asking one by one. I will answer those questions. And I have been told to talk in English. If anyone is feeling discomfort to talk in English, you can ask in Kannada. No issues as such.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, namaste.
Hello. ಹೇಳಿ.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding the use of techniques of solving MCQs. So somebody says,
1 second.
hello.
1 second. Is it Nagraj?
Ha, sir.
Okay. Yes, tell Nagraj.
Sir, there is a lot of noise in the market regarding the techniques of solving MCQs. Some
Okay.
says they are indispensable, and some say use them as a last resort. So, what are your thoughts, sir? Shall we depend on them, or shall we depend on our knowledge, or shall we use them as a last resort?
Okay. So, if you see the prelims examination till 2020, these conclusions have arrived from some pattern people that are observed in examination. For example, I will tell you, since 2017, 18, 19, some 3, 4 prelims used to see the match the following questions. There are some pattern hidden in that. But based on those, people assumed that we can use some of the techniques to solve, we can assume things and solve them. But when you see last 2 years prelims, these techniques or whatever you call the shortcuts are not working per se. It may do in one or two questions, but per se they are not working because even UPSC is so smart and it is continuously evolving that it is upgrading its question, the format, the way it is asking questions. So I would advise not to be dependent or keep working on techniques per se, but rather strengthen your foundations or basics that we say. Um, Mainly, you see, if you solve half of the questions, you will clear through prelims. That is 50 questions, you will clear through prelims. So the major thing that you need to do is focus on foundations, and these 50 questions can definitely can be solved if you are strong in your foundations. That is, you are well thorough with your NCRTs, the books you have read, the revisions you have done, the test series you have solved, and the previous year questions that you have seen. Based on this, when you are strong in your foundations or your basics, then you can solve most of the questions. And at the end, if you feel like you need to solve other questions, and that time you can use some of the techniques or patterns you may say, but it's not fixed. It is that you know one of the options from your memory or from your reading, and you can eliminate some others. These are the techniques you can use, but not others like that I mentioned. There is no fixed pattern the way they ask questions, not those techniques per se, but you can use other techniques or methods to solve, to eliminate options, to eliminate things to get your answer. Other than that, I would suggest not to depend too much on this techniques per se.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So anybody else? You need to ask questions because anyway your face is not seen here.
Nikhil, I have a question in general.
Yes, yes.
How to use previous question papers, as in particularly what to look for in when it comes to previous question paper, and how to utilize it for the benefit of the upcoming exams.
Um, so UPSC has not told you this is the books that you have to do, this is the things that you have to do, but it has just given you syllabus and it has told you to prepare. So when that is the case, you need to draw some boundary or you need to know how the UPSC exam works. So I suggest or I feel previous year questions are very helpful in that regard because once you start studying or knowing how the UPSC is asking questions, based on that you can use it for your preparation. So if I may say, how to study previous year questions. So what I used to do is I used to divide the paper into various subjects that we have seen. For example, I would say, let me take example of art and culture. So I used to see art and culture questions of previous year exams and used to see which topics UPSC is generally asking. And if you see some 5 6 years question papers with respect to art and culture of previous years, you'll get to know some of the things that UPSC is focusing more. For example, UPSC is asking more about Jainism, Buddhism, some of these topics, it is its favorite topics. So if you see some 5 6 years preparation, you get to know some of the important topics or sections which UPSC likes and it asks usually. That is one thing I see. And accordingly, you can focus more while you are preparing. So if they're asking frequently about Buddhism, that time I would not only read whatever it's given in book, NCRT or the standard books that we do, but I will also go one step further and Google it. So what I used to do is I used to Google Buddhism. I used to read its Wikipedia page. I used to read some other things, whatever it came, so that my knowledge of foundation was little more than what is given in book. So this is one thing that I used to take. Second one, when you see previous year question papers, you'll get to know how UPSC is asking the questions. For example, same example in Buddhism, you'll get to know how UPSC is asking questions on Buddhism. You may be preparing something else, you may be by hearting the years or numbers, something like that, or places. But once you see how UPSC is asking, you while reading, you can focus on that in that aspect. So this is how UPSC is asking on this section, and this is how I need to prepare. So these two things majorly I focused. One is which sections are important, and in that section, how UPSC is asking questions. If you do this exercise, I think you can also preempt the questions in coming times. This can be applied to anything for current affairs. You can see, you can study a pattern. You can check what type of questions are asked in current affairs. So either they're asking schemes or what they're asking. Based on that, you can fine tune your preparation and you can actually preempt some of the questions. Okay, this is important. This might come this time. So this exercise I used to do from previous year questions. This is how I did it.
Hi, sir. This is Maheshwari Patel.
Okay, yes, Masha.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding geography subject, sir. Usually, 5 to 10 question will appear approximately from last 3 to 4 years. The themes of the questions varies from every year. Like three themes are common regarding rivers and some map questions. Other than that, I have confusion. Some of the questions is like overlaps are between environment and geography, and geography is a vast subject. So how to focus to make a boundary to maximize the revision, um, sir, regarding this, sir.
Okay, I understood. You're asking the breadth of geography is so huge, and UPSC is asking from diverse section how to concise and how to focus on what to read from that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first exercise or the first thing that you are already doing is preparing for geography. So you are taking some source, it might be NCRT or PMFIS or any other book, JC Leong. So you are preparing and you are strong with the basic things that you need to study. So
Okay.
once you do this exercise, then you are thorough with what you must do. See, so if this is what you must do for geography, I would say if you need to prepare for this book, you are preparing, you are revising, you are making notes out of it, then this is what you must do, and you have done it. And after you doing this, if some questions are coming which you don't know, then it is not an issue because there will be some questions, no matter how much you prepare, there will be some questions which you may not have prepared. So consider those questions as in that sections that hardly if I would give an example in prelims, the questions that come from your preparation that you know exactly answer for those are hardly some 30 to 40 questions. So other than that, you are using your guess and you are using your knowledge from somewhere. You are connecting things and you are connecting dots. Then you are coming to the solution or the answer. So similarly, I would say yes, the scope is wide, and by seeing previous year question papers, you can see that some topics are important even in geography. It's not that they are asking completely out of this. And when you told it's overlapping with environment, I would suggest while preparing, you can connect to and prepare. So if you're studying geography today, or if some topics are common, you can study environment together. Like if you study this topic in geography, you can study the similar topic, recurring topic in environment, and you can cover both. So you can connect things and study. And once you do this exercise and you've done your revision and seeing previous year question papers, then I think it is possible to answer. And even if it's not possible, I think once you are done your part, you no need to worry because some questions will be there which are out of your scope. So no need to worry about it.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Yes.
If we consider cost benefit ratio, which subject you suggest should we need to finish initially, sir?
So I would suggest the basic subjects that are very important are everybody knows the polity, economics, history, geography. These are some of the topics, and if you see previous year questions, almost 70 to 80% are covered from these subjects itself. These are the foundational pillars, what we call of UPSC examination. So I would suggest you prepare thoroughly for these basic topics. Then there are some like environment, science and technology that you can prepare along the way with current affairs. So these are some important these are important subjects that you need to prepare, which you should be thorough with them.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, last question, sir. You
Yes.
mentioned four subject as basics. Even I to follow the same manner, sir. But I'm not getting the old on economics, sir. Should I? I'm not getting a grip or like what I feel from polity. That feel I'm not getting from economics, sir. This strong feel how to focus on economics, sir. Or how you prepared for economics, sir?
Even economics was difficult for me because I did not have any background in economics. So I would first identify where you are facing the issue. So some might be like they are studying a textbook and they are not understanding some concepts of ideas from that textbook. So in such case, you can any day you can change the book that you are reading, and there are some 3 4 books. And for example, I would say Sri Ramayas, and there is one more Vivek Singh. You'll get a PDF of that. It is very good book, Vivek Singh, where Sir has explained all those concepts with very simple manner, in simple manner. And you can choose, you can change the book, or sometimes what you can do is you can watch videos of some concepts that you are not understanding, especially in economics. See, for example, the Mrunal sir has good content or good holder economics, and he has explained things very well. So first, identify where you're facing issue, either in understanding things or expressing while you're writing answer, or you're not able to connect it to current affairs, and accordingly work on that. So as I've told, refer to other source or try to Google things, try to watch videos of those topics. Then I think you'll be able to manage it.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. All the best, Nisha.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Surya, sir. Sir, prelims is a combination of static portion and current affairs. Apart from static portion, what we need to focus on current affairs, sir.
Okay.
And
So static. Yes, continue.
sir, CSET is getting tougher year by year, sir. So
Okay.
how to approach CSET?
Okay. So static, you are told the standard books that you read and NCRT. One thing I want to highlight here is don't neglect NCRTs, because many times what happens in the initial phases of preparation, you'll start with NCRTs, you'll read, then you read standard books, and during preparation, during prelims, you don't revise the NCRTs back. So I'd suggest please do read again NCRTs, revise them thoroughly, because it is very helpful in prelims. So these static part you are covering. Then for the question is for current affairs. So I would say, with respect to sources, many people follow many things. Some do daily current affairs, which they make notes out of it, and some do monthly current affairs. The any institute like Vision Monthly Current Affairs or something else. So if you are done monthly current affairs, I would suggest just revise those monthly current affairs for prelims, and just see any compilation of any other coaching institute. If you're missing any topic from it, just revise or go through it. And if some people are dependent on PT 365, that comes the compilation of everything. So you can read that PT 365. At the same time, you can see some other coaching institute compilation and just see if there are any topics that you are not covered in PT 365 index, and you can read that. So, and if you see last 2 3 years, it is not that you're directly getting questions from which where you read. The questions are not coming directly from Vision Monthly Current Affairs or PT 365, but somewhere these what you're reading is helping to eliminate options. One thing, and it will help you to know and guess some questions. So somewhere you can connect and link and solve that question. So the basic thing that you need to do must be done. Either revise the monthly current affairs or read Pretty 365. And one more thing I would suggest is don't stop there. What I used to do generally, what we can see is nowadays this is not enough if you do PT 365. So frequently, or just sit in front of your tab or laptop and continuously keep Googling things, because once you Google, once you know, it's better that you'll understand more, you will understand better that topic, and you'll have somewhere a better edge to solve those questions. So what I used to do, if something comes in news, for example, if some national park or some wildlife sanctuary comes in news, I just used to Google them. I just used to check on Google Maps where is that national park located, if there's any river passing through it, or what are the cities located around them, or which part of that state that national park is. So similarly, if there is any international news like this happened in PT 365, so just to go Google, read little Wikipedia. Okay, this is the place. This is what is happening. So it's better if you can do this exercise of finding out things out of your curiosity, and make sure that you're not wasting too much of also your time in this exercise. But I think this would help and this would suffice for your contemporaries.
Sir, for CSAT, sir.
Sorry. Second question is CSAT. I was from engineering background, so I did not put specific effort in CSAT. Like I did not join any institute or take coaching for this. I used to solve previous year question papers 2 3 years, and I used to see some topics, how what are the formulas, if there are any shortcuts, and I used to go, and I have cleared CSAT every time. But however, I feel last 1 2 years CSAT is becoming difficult. So in two parts, one passage and maths problems. Passage you need to practice them, solve all some 5 6 years previous year question paper passages, and try and discuss with your friends and do this exercise for passages. And for maths, I think you can see previous year questions and know which are the topics they are asking, like from probability, permutation, combination, or any other topics. Make a list of topics that they are asking, and I would suggest study any book if you want to, like some book, but preferably I would tell watch some videos on that. So you get so many videos which are there in YouTube for banking exams for UPSC, and you can watch some videos for one topic. For example, if the topic is probability, so watch some 2 3 videos however are there in YouTube, and just know basic things how to solve a question if it comes. If there are any shortcuts, if there are any formula, so write it down. So in this way, uh, do this exercise for all the topics that are they are asking for different topics in CSET. Then work on that. Solve previous year questions, solve other questions if you want. There are many Telegram channels that they are putting everyday CSAT questions. Solve those. And previous year questions, last 5 years, previous year papers, last 5 years, you can see. So which type of questions they're asking, how they're asking. So with this exercise, I think it's sufficient. You can clear CSAT.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Sir, namaste.
Heidi?
Myself, Dharma Prakash.
Yes, Dharma?
ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 90 ಡೇಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇವಾಗ NCERT-ನ ನಾವು ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಈಗ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೈಸ್ ಮೈನ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ರಿವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಸಪೋಸ್ NCERT-ನ ಈಗ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಥೀಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸಮ್ಮರಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್?
So I'll just translate this for others who don't understand Kannada. So he's asking whether we need to read NCERT or standard books in the remaining 90 days, or is it only sufficient if we read NCERT's those topics which we see from previous year questions? So I would suggest 90 days is enough time to study both standard book and NCERT. So I think once you have studied NCERT initially, it is not that you are reading it new. So once you're prepared, you have studied it. The revision of NCERT doesn't take too much time. One NCERT you can complete some 2 3 hours. You can finish it off. Just reading things, revising things back. So if you've already done this exercise, I would say it does not take much time. So go through entirely in NCERT with major focus on these themes which are repeatedly asked. But it's not that you leave other topic or you leave NCERT itself. It is not right. So I would suggest try to do both NCERT and standard books. Try to focus on those topics in NCERT which are recurrently asked. At the same time, do not leave other topics in NCERT.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, then.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good evening. So I have a very general question. From your 2020 to 2021 preparation, what were the fundamental changes that helped you clear the prelims?
So as I mentioned, 2018 exam, I did not clearance because I did not have proper guidance. And to be very honest here, I had not finished my syllabus. I had not finished reading basic things. For example, I had not finished even my Lakshmikant once. I was halfway through because of some reasons. I had gone to Delhi, and because I had no guidance, there was no proper friend circle. I could not prepare well in that attempt. So in 2019, I did the basic things that needs to be done. It is not that I did something exceptional or something different that helped me clear prelims. In 2018 exam, I did what I had to do. That is, read basic things, revise them, if possible, make notes out of them, solve as much as tests possible, see previous year questions, and then attempt exam. So these are the basic steps or these are basic things that I did. And even after this, in 2018-19 prelims, that is second attempt, I had missed by 2.2 marks something. So that time I was confident because in first attempt I had got around 60 marks, and second attempt I had seen this huge improvement. So that time I was sure, I was little confident that I had missed by one question, two question, and I will clear if I do this properly. And in third attempt, I did not make any drastic changes. The things remained same. One thing that I did was I solved as much as test series as possible. In my third attempt, I had solved almost some 50 to 60 tests of various institutes that helped me to understand, and it was almost like a muscle memory thing that you are you are honing that skill of solving prelims questions. So I'd solved tests, many tests, and I was going through previous year questions in my third attempt. I think these two things helped me very much to clear prelims exams, both the time, even third attempt and fourth attempt. Previous year questions and solving tests. So I would not say I did
Thank you,
any
sir.
drastic changes. Welcome. I'll add that I did not make any drastic changes, but I stick to the basics and I did what this had to be done. That's it. And one more thing I want to add, it's that no matter how much you study, how much you prepare, revise, all tests, that day of prelims becomes very important. How your mindset should be, how well you should be on that day. I have seen many people who study very hard, who put honest hard work, but on that day they feel a little uncomfortable, little nervous, or they face this mental barrier that because of that they are not able to clear. So if that is the case, I would say you need to work on that. So other than that, you can go through this.
So I had one more doubt. So every time I finish the revision for one subject, suppose polity, and I move to the next subject, I feel like I'm forgetting polity all over again. And there's a lot of new information every single time I read it. So how did you manage the subjects and maintain the balance in your schedule so that you could improve in every subject?
Um, it is a fact that especially in the initial readings, first reading, second reading, it is very difficult to remember things totally. I would say, for example, once in the first reading in Lakshmikant, I think you may remember hardly 10% or 20% of that. So I think it is totally okay. You don't need to worry once you complete reading one subject and you are forgetting about it. That is natural thing that happens to everybody. That's why you need multiple revisions of that book so that you can remember and improve things every time. So in next reading of Lakshmikant, you'll remember more, you will improve a little. So in third reading, fourth reading. So if I may say, I have read Lakshmikant almost some 10, 12 times till now, full book. now, even now, I cannot say that I have known, like, I know everything in that. I may be knowing some 60, 70% or 80%, but it is natural that you forget things, but you recollect, you remember, you reread. After these multiple revisions, only it is possible to remember things in a book. So, no need to worry if you are forgetting. Just make sure that you are understanding things when you're studying, then you are revising and rereading that book multiple times.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Nikhil, sorry for interrupting the flow. Just since you mentioned about the test series and utilization of giving mocks, I just have a general question, which probably the others will also benefit with this. One thing is how to actually approach tests. As in, do we have to, kind of prepare for a subject, give the mocks? Kind of is it a testing lab for whatever you have prepared for, or during the course of solving questions are you learning things and making note of it or whatever it is, which also brings to a point as to how to utilize the synopsis. And then we'll have n number of pages, and at times we'll not have enough or sufficient time to actually go and kind of cover entire synopsis altogether. That's one aspect, as in how you will approach mock. And in the recent time, this is the second part of the question. The recent time we are facing certain, kind of complaints from the general aspirant side, that whatever we are learning or whatever we are solving is pretty, kind of outdated, or rather not up to the standard of what UPSC is actually asking in the recent times, the last 1 or 2 years. And do we still kind of go with the same trust with mocks which we used to give 3 or 4 years ago? And if so, or if not, what changes can we bring so that we can address this gap between the mock and the actual UPSC scenario?
Okay. So, Vaishak, the process, what I followed for solving tests is that I used to read and revise subjects before I attempted that test. It was also not the case that I finished reading a book or a subject. For example, if I read modern history spectrum for this week, and next day I started taking sectional tests of modern history. It was not the case. Rather, I would have given some time before solving tests. So if I read spectrum for a week, I would not solve modern history per se the next day, but I would say a week of time. After then, I solved those sectional tests of modern history. This was important because earlier I used to do the same thing. I used to read, revise, then I used to give that test. So what used to happen was uh, I used to remember things. I used to get good marks in that. But that's not how actually it works in UPSC. So you read everything, you go there, then it all depends on how much knowledge that is remained after studying and after giving some time for that. So you have to recall things in the exam uh, spontaneously. It's not that you finished all your studying, then you went and attended. So as this was the case, I used to study, I used to revise, then give little gap, then I used to solve the test. So in a way, it prepared me for actual exam environment where I used to forget things, where I used to know only one option correct, then I had to somehow get to the answer. So I used to recall things, I used to eliminate options. So this process which happened in exam, that I used to practice in tests. So this is one part. And second part is how I prepared for synopsis. So we have that solution of that test. So there are two methods. One is you entirely read the solution part, highlight things, and note down if there are any important things, and you are done with the test. And second method is you are seeing solutions at the same time you are going back and revising things of that question. So if there is any one question on modern history of some, so for example, Swadeshi movement, if there is one question, you go back to that spectrum, you go back to that section, you revise things once again, what is there, and where did you make an error in that part. So these two methods I have tried both the methods. In my third attempt, what I used to do was I used to study book, then solve test, read entire synopsis. I note down points if there anything important, then close the test and then go to next test. But this time I used to, as I had read and revised multiple times the standard books and everything, I used to solve test, see the solution, and go back and revise things then only. Why did I make that mistake? Was there because of lack of understanding of the question or the solution part, or because of lack of revision, or some because of some other reason? Just to go back and check that topic in my book, in my textbook, then revise things there itself. So I would suggest you can follow any one of the approaches. It depends on your convenience. So there is no specific things that you need to follow this, you need to follow that. But make sure that you are highlighting on things that you are focusing on things where you have gone wrong. So just if you have solved say 90 questions, 30 questions you have done wrong, keep focus on those 30 questions a little more, because you need to know why you have made that mistake there. Was it because of lack of understanding, or because of revision, or you did not read question properly, you did not understand question properly? So this, I did this exercise, especially I focused more on those questions where I went wrong, and I used to analyze why I went wrong there. It's not that you solve a test, then you read solution, you are done with it. So I would suggest, if you can solve lesser number of tests, say 50 tests with uh, this normal process that you are reading solution and you're going through, I would suggest rather solve only 30 tests and analyze things why you went wrong and what you could have done better there. So this solving 30 tests with analysis is better than solving 50 tests without analysis. So this is how I did. In summary, I would just tell that read synopsis and make highlight things. If you have gone wrong, just know where and why you have gone wrong, and go back to that and revise things in your books. So this is how I solve tests. And coming to second part, that you are telling these tests are not up to the mark of UPSC. To a certain extent, that is true, because the type of questions that you are getting is not up to mark of UPSC. So I would suggest uh, be careful when you are choosing which test series you are solving. So there are many institutes. I would not take names of institute, but I would say some of the institutes, the questions are not up to mark of UPSC. But at the same time, some institutes come up with very good test series. For example, I would say Vision did help me. Foramayas was good. Shankar questions are good. So these institutes, I think, would help us. And I also I want to highlight here that it's not that if you're solving tests, you are looking for content or the question that you will get same thing in examination. Rather, you are preparing yourself uh, to solve that question. So the more you practice here, you'll get the feel of solving a question. It's not that you have solved this coaching institute questions and you are getting some question in prelims or some content or something in prelims, but rather you are just going through the process of analysis, thinking, time management, solving of questions. So this exercise is important. So I would say that no need to worry if the questions or the institute questions are not up to mark of UPSC, where previous year questions helps us to cover that gap. Rather, focus on getting through this process, becoming skillful in solving questions through that exercise. So those involve time management, how to eliminate options, those whole process of thinking, analysis of questions. So if you get this skill, no matter how the UPSC questions are or how different or diverse they are, you will be able to solve that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Anyone else?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello,
Sir, namaste.
Let's wait for
Nagraj.
someone else now.
Let
Hello.
Apurva ask the question, then I'll come to you, Nagraj.
Hi, sir. Good evening. So my question is, as an aspirant, how would your next 90 days would be for the prelims 2023?
Apurva, your voice is very feeble. I'm not able to listen it. Can you repeat the question?
So, sir, my question is, for the next 90 days as an aspirant, how would your preparation be on that phase?
Okay. So you are asking me how would be my schedule, which subjects I'll covering, how I'll divide these 90 days. Is that the question? Apurva?
Yeah, yeah.
So is this the question that how I will utilize these 90 days in a way that how I make schedule and how I will divide things and utilize this or what
Yeah,
specifically?
like how would the preparation be like for the prelims 2026 correctly? Like I mean, I'm not stressing on the mains or something, but for the prelims.
Okay. So I have not yet made my timetable that how I'll be doing, but in general, I would. This is how my 90 days would be. I will come from the day of exam. So that is May 28th. So I will be keeping 7 days before prelims for revising last revision of the topics. So those 7 days. Then before that 20 days, that will be my the next revision. So May month would be mainly for revision. I will not be reading anything new. I'll not be covering any new book, but rather I will focus on revising things twice or thrice in that time. And the remaining 2 months, that is February and March. So I will start with NCRTs in February. So I think I would, as I told, it depends on person to person, but I will take a subject, for example, history, and I will sit and I will first, I have not done this exercise yet, but I will see how many days I would give for history, including NCRT and standard book for revision. Then the same process for other subject also. I'll just divide the days for 2 months 60 days for various subjects. You can say 1 week average. So 1 week I'm doing history. It varies, but I would say 10 days for history, 1 week for polity, 1 week for economics. At the same time, I'll be dividing my time for test series also. So it's not that I'll be doing 1 day, but I'll divide half a day. So half a day I'll be studying, and next second part of the day I'll be solving tests. So in this 60 days, I have to keep uh, some days for solving. Almost I've planned to solve some, as I have time, I've solved to plan some 30 to 40 tests from good institute. So I will be scheduling those. And as I already given multiple attempts, I think uh, it would not take much time for me to cover things. So this is how broadly I would do. And for some who want to add CSAT into that, I would suggest you can do every day an hour, or every Sunday you can add 3 hours of CSAT. And this is how in general it would be. But I have not specifically done my thing. I am not starting this so early for prelims. So I'm starting somewhere in mid March. So if this is a general, if you have any specific doubts in this aspect, you can ask.
Okay, sir. Like I got it. Thank you.
So Nagraj, you have any question?
Sir, I have doubt regarding the revision of tests. So,
Okay.
if we don't find the time, sir, to revise test, will it be okay, or shall we strictly restrict to the basic books that we have tested, sir?
So as I mentioned, if you don't revise and analyze your tests, there is no point in solving tests. So I would suggest even if you're solving less number of tests, see, as I told, if you're not able to solve some 50 tests, if you're able to solve only 20 tests or 30 tests, solve those and try to revise those tests. So focus on getting thorough with one test that you are solving rather than focusing on number of tests you are solving. And you are asking, can I replace solving tests with just reading and revising things? So that is how not the process works. You are not going there and just reading things in UPSC. You are going and solving prelims, and you need to prepare for that exercise. to sit there in that 2 hour time period. You need to read question, you need to solve, analyze, solve. So this practice is very essential. So I would not advise you to not solve tests. So no matter how less number of tests possible, try to solve them, try to revise them, and then only you go to UPSC exam. So do things that you want to do in exam before itself. So similarly, for example, if you're writing mains, if you just read, revise, and go, that's not the thing you're doing in mains. You're writing, so you need to practice answer writing. Similarly, practice prelims solving questions prior to going to exam.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ
ಸರ್, ಇದು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಯಾವ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಕೂಡ UPSC ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಡೆಸಲ್ಲ. ಅದ್ರಾಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೇರ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ವು ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ UPSC ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸರ್, CSAT ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಕೇಳಿದಂತ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅವರು ಕೇಳಿದಂತ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜಸ್ ಸಣ್ಣದಿತ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು 1, 2 ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಇವುಗಳು ನೋಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್. ಇಂಥ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿಸಿ.
So I'll just repeat the question. He's asking that the pattern of asking questions in UPSC is different, even in GS paper or in CSAT paper. Sometimes UPSC suddenly comes with new type of questions. So last it has come with how many pairs are correct. So I would say just know that UPSC is very unpredictable. It is not Union Public Service Commission, but unpredictable Public Service Commission. So if you're expecting this, you will not get nervous in examination. Secondly, when you are thorough with your foundation and basics, no matter how many these peripheral changes or minute changes UPSC may do, it will not impact you as much. So I would say be thorough in your foundation. Do things that must be done, and try to just go with open mind that UPSC can ask any type of questions, any type of things. You make sure that you are doing your work, you are strong and thorough with your foundation, with your concepts, with your basics. Then even if you see little different type of questions, I think you would not worry much, because no matter how different UPSC tries to do, it can only change the external or the minute things. It cannot play with the concepts or basics. So if you're strong there, I think it would not be an issue.
Yes, sir. ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿತ್ತು. CSAT ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅವರು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಬಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅವರು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎರಡೆರಡು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಇಂದ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇದ್ರು ನಾವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಿ ರಾಂಗ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಸರ್?
That's what I told. You can see some different type of questions in UPSC. So as you're telling, in CSAT, they have asked smaller passages. They asked some 2-3 questions, repeated questions, and how to solve them. So once you are thorough, once you have practiced these things, so I think it would not make much difference even if you see that thing in examination, that you are knowing that UPSC might ask something different type of the pattern, the way they are asking questions. If you have practiced it thoroughly, I think you should not face any problem in examination. So just practice here as much as possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, it's almost 7:30. We'll have one last question, so that kind of we can end this as soon as possible. Anyone wants to ask? Those who haven't asked so far. One last question.
ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ, ಹಂಗೆ ಓವರ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದು.
Question?
Sir, while studying, I'm come across many negative thoughts because of my past failures. How to defeat them, sir? Thank you, sir.
So he's asking how to deal with negative thoughts, or when you feel low, especially when preparing for this, because of your previous failures. How will you overcome that? He's asking. So this is what personally I also went through when I did not clear 2 prelims, and At that time, uh, I think it all boils down to what you are doing now rather than overthinking about your failures that you have seen in previous attempts. So I think I would just focus on this aspect of introspection. When you are preparing again, when you are giving next attempt or again the attempt, so you need to introspect things while preparing. So if you keep thinking about your previous failures that I did not clear this time, I did not clear last time, so it will be very difficult to focus now. Rather than that, you need to introspect where you have gone wrong. There are some things or some mistakes that you do. So as I was telling in first attempt, I identified through introspection where did I go wrong, what mistakes did I do in previous attempt, and because of that, I was not able to clear. So identify where you are going wrong. Keep introspecting. So rather than focusing, I failed, just know why you have failed and start working on that. At the same time, I would say everything, it depends on these two mutually, what I would say, reinforcing things of working, honest, hard work, working, and your belief. So the more stronger you believe, no matter how foolish it may seem, how like people might tell you may not clear, they might tell you, or personally you might feel that you may not clear, but blindly start believing that you will clear. I would tell you that just get up every day, tell yourself 10 times that I'm going to clear this exam, I'm going to clear prelims, I'm going to clear this exam 10 times. When you sleep, tell yourself that you are going to clear this exam 10 times before you sleep. So once you are strengthening this belief, at this once you do, it will automatically help you to put efforts. So you start putting efforts, you start uh, working on your things. So when these two happen simultaneously, it forms a virtuous cycle. It's a mutually reinforcing. The more you start believing, the more efforts you start putting. The more efforts you start putting, the more you start believing that you can solve clear this exam. So focus on these two things. First, introspect. Second, put honest hard work. Third, believe that you can do. And I would try to tell you that don't think that those who clear do not get negative thoughts or do not feel down while preparing. I would bet that every one of them feel this way because I'm not only telling my story, as I've been to foundation course in Missouri, I have met all the toppers ranging from rank 1 to top 100. So everyone has gone through this process. Everyone have faced these things that they feel low, they feel they get negative thoughts, they doubt themselves whether they can clear this or not. But I think this is where these three things help. You try to introspect, you work hard, you start believing in yourself. And if you have good company around you, like three, four friends who are working together with a single goal, then it would be helpful. So don't think that it's exception that I am getting negative thoughts or feeling low. It's common for everyone. Just you need to get through that.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Nikhil, I have one last question, and we can
Yes.
end this particular question. For the last 1 week or so, which is pretty crucial when it comes to prelims, like around 5 to 7 days, very crucial. And I just want you to kind of give that sort of insight as to what we should be doing in the last 5-6 days or in 1 week, because we in the entire preparation we're doing on daily basis. Okay, today we'll be giving tests, we'll be doing that, all these things, and we tend to forget what we'll be doing the last 5 or 6 days. In fact, that's very crucial, because you'll be let's say reading out a list of all the articles, you'll be going through a list of reports or probably locations, you'll be doing map, all these things. So just whatever thought comes into your mind right now, that 5 to 6 days, or let's say one whole week, what are the crucial things which we'll have to prepare right now itself? I mean, what are the things which we will have to be doing right now so that our last 1 week will be efficient enough?
Okay. This is actually a very good question because as I told that when I was telling how you divide these 90 days, I told you I'll start from exam day, then I'll keep 7 days, then I'll come backwards. So those 7 days are very critical because all your 1 year's effort boils down to those 7 days and the day of exam. So I would tell that when you are preparing these 90 days, just make sure that you are highlighting or noting down things which are very important and you are forgetting them. So when you see previous year question papers, there are some topics very important and you are studying and you are forgetting them. So put a stick note or write it down somewhere, note it down somewhere. So then one thing that you are doing in that last week is you are revising those very important things which you are forgetting, that we will not forget in examination. So you are revising important topics, I would say, which you are working on it from now on, that you are noting it down, you are writing it somewhere, you are making notes of it so that you can revise those notes at the end. Second aspect is generally what I do is I go through previous year questions during those times. I just read questions, read questions, read questions. So how they are asking. I will get the hang of how UPSC asks questions, the way they are asking questions, the sentences they use, the words they use. Uh, so you'll get overall feel of how the questions will come in examination. So I was to go through previous year question paper again during last week. So first thing, revise the critical important things that you are forgetting. Second is you are going to previous year questions. Third is I would say you need to work on your health and mental aspect. So no point if you are unwell in that last week after putting so much effort. So make sure that you are taking good care of your health, that you are getting sufficient sleep, you are not eating which affects your health, you are eating good food, drinking sufficient water. So focus on health aspect, physical health. Second is mental health aspect. So if you have any hobby of listening to music or meditating or just talking with friends where you can ease out the pressure, you can relax. So focus on these things. So these are the things that I would do in last 7 days. To summarize: one, revise critical topics; two, take care of my health; three, read previous year questions.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you for summarizing that as well. And I think we have come to an end for this particular session. We have covered almost all the questions in 1 hour 20 minutes or so. Thank you, Nikhil, for kind of giving time and addressing all the questions in between your commitments. And in fact, you two are preparing, and I am really indebted to you. And thanks from all the participants, and give you for giving this opportunity and giving the time, and all the very best for you. I really wish to see you. Of course, it's not a thing, but I really don't want to see in the uniform, come out of the uniform and have a civil dress, kind of, and come back to Karnataka. And I really want to see you as an IS officer with the home cadre. So all the very best for that. And thank you for giving the time, Nikhil.
Thank you very much, Vaishak, for giving me this opportunity where I could recollect things after a long time, where I was out of touch with my preparation. Now I can get some clarity on my own process. And secondly, thank you everyone for being a wonderful audience and asking questions. I was thinking if you guys don't ask questions, what I would tell. So thank you for asking questions and helping me out in this time. Thank you everyone. All the best for your exams.
All right, we'll meet with someone else, some other achiever in the next session, and we'll thank Nikhil for now. And thank you, Nikhil, and good night, everyone. All the very best for your preparation, and probably we'll meet you on the other side. Very good night and a very good weekend, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.